Hello everyone, it's Stephanie Stevens. How is everybody doing tonight? Um, Thank you guys so much for joining me here on the Stephanie Stevens Show. I have been getting all of your emails, your Instagram emails, and all of your Twitter emails. I am really, really busy, but the producers want me to start answering your emails and getting familiar with the different audiences. So tonight I'm going to um, try and answer your emails about one particular subject I seem to have gotten a lot of emails about the imposters and the great imposters. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about how I joined the group, hopefully how where the group is now and what's happening with it. Um, just so it's clear, the imposters, when I came here in Toronto in 1989, the imposters were Danny Love, Jackie Loren, J.J. Murray, and myself. I wasn't Stephanie Stevens at the time, I was Lee Stevens, because you had to have an alternative name. You know, it couldn't be male and it couldn't be female. It had to be sort of both, okay, unisex. When I came here in 1989, those were the cast members. Now, I worked with Danny and JJ and Jackie Loren for about 2 years, and then Jackie passed away. And then Dale Burnett took Jackie's place. So then it was Danny Love, myself, J.J. Murray, and Dale Burnett. And we were the imposters for years. And then when Dale died, Adrian Lee took Dale's place. Now, the originals, from what I'm hearing, when Danny left me the group, and when I got his the paper that he left me the group, the founding members were Danny Love actually founded the group, him and Jackie Loren. But Danny owned the group because he came up with the idea, the concept. So him, Danny Love, Jackie Loren, Randy Cole, and were the three of the great imposters. Now, in that group also was Rusty Ryan, Danny Love, Leslie O'Shea, and Michelle DeBerry for 2 weeks. Okay? Now, Danny Love had a falling out with Rusty Ryan, and so that's why he left the Great Imposters to start his own group, because they were all fighting over the name. So when he left the group, he started up the group The Impostors, which I now am running. Now, when Dale Burnett died and left the group, and we hired Adrian Lee. Adrian Lee was with us for a very long time. So for a long time, we only operated with 3 people instead of 4. The group always had 4. At the original, it had 5, but down the road, we only had 4. So, and then we end up sometimes having only 3. So we had many different people to fill in when people were sick or they didn't want to work. We had Pepsi fill in. We had Theo Shiamon fill in. We had Katanya fill in. We had what's his name? Nikki Thomas filled in. We've had Terry Stevens. We've had so many people filling in the group that helped the group along. So we had many imposters, some for 2-3 weeks, some for a year or so, and then they decided they wanted to do their own thing and would move on to other things. Being on the road with the imposters was very difficult because we traveled in this white van, and we traveled we were always on the road. The show was very popular. I mean, we made good money, so I didn't have a problem going. Now, um, that as long as that's clear now. But now, when I was in the show and right before Danny died, it was me, Danny Love, J.J. Murray, and Dale Barnett. We were the Impostors for years, traveling on the road. Our sound man was a guy from Steve's Music named Michael. He drove the van part-time, and he always played our music and everything. So now, you guys have asked me about those people. Now, when I was running the group 2 years ago, I had hired two other guys since nobody wanted to work, and J.J. Murray had moved on to whatever he was doing. So it was just me. So I brought on board Rachel Temptation and Taryn Blake, Rick Morton. So we actually did very well for a few years. But I have found that in the last 7, 8 years, I've been struggling with trying to keep the acts. The acts have to have quality. And this is what I find that, okay, the acts have quality for a few minutes and then they lose its luster, or the person that's doing it loses their interest in performing. Now, I've decided now to go on my own. Because I have a new agent now, and right along with Complex 5 still, but I have a new agent that has said that there's lots of opportunity for me, and I need to stop bickering and fighting with these people. If you can't get along with them, step away from them and do your own thing, because you're bookable. So now that I know that, and now that I have somebody that believes in me and understands me, I'm happy. So hopefully the other girls who have moved on, hopefully they're getting what they want and doing what they want. Now, a lot of you have asked me about our shows on the road. Well, my first show, when I first came from Fort Lauderdale to Toronto, my very first show, I worked the second night I was in Toronto with the Impostors. And believe it or not, I was so nervous and so unprepared. I mean, I had all my costumes and everything, and I was prepared as far as the show goes, but I wasn't prepared for the show, for me to just go right into the show like 2 days later after getting here and not being totally settled. And we did the show. It was great. One issue, we laughed about this for years. My wig fell off. But back then, I had a weave. But I had it in a ponytail. So underneath my wig. So it really it didn't get the laugh we all thought it would, because I still had hair. I mean, it's different today because most of the time, most impersonators don't have any hair. So it was very funny. I remember that so clear. You asked me what did I think of the Impostors, the members, when I met them. I actually thought they were attractive. They were attractive men. So I knew if they were attractive men, they would be beautiful women. I thought. They looked pretty good. But Dale Barnett, he was a gorgeous guy. He looked really great and done up too in his drag. Danny Love was a little mousy little thing, sweet, mousy, and JJ was just typical Canadian. And then there was me, of course. Now I have to say this because it needs to be said. Now, when the Impostors phoned me and talked to me about coming to Toronto to work in the show, Danny Love made it very clear to me that they needed a black actor in the show, because he said that they have black people coming to the show and there's nobody on the stage representing them. At the time, they did have a black actor at the time named Randy Cole, who now lives in Buffalo. and works in the courthouse. Now, um, so we never had a problem with the issue of, yes, you need somebody to represent, you know, race, a certain race. I mean, come on, because if you're going into a place and there's black people and everybody in the show is white and there's nobody there to relate to them, I mean, it's kind of like, so you have to address that issue. So they made it clear to me when they hired me that they liked my performing and they liked me, but they really needed a black act in the show. So I didn't have a problem with that, as long as I was getting paid. Um, how long have I been with the Impostors? I've been with the Impostors about 30 years. 30 years on and off. At the beginning, it was a little bit rough. Once I got settled here, I didn't really want to work with them anymore. I really wanted to move on to something bigger. So I went to Lacage for a few years and on Young Street. Because I just wanted a different experience and I wanted to do something bigger and better. And there was more money and the fact that it was more glamorous and it was right downtown at Dundas Square. Um, so I liked the fact that I didn't have to travel on the road and it was just down the street. So I could walk to work because I lived 10 minutes from the theater. So, now, when did I join? I joined in 1989. I came to Toronto in 1989. Now, you asked me, what did you ask me? Oh, I came here, you were being an American and coming here. No, they brought me here on a visa with 1 year to a 3 year option if I liked it and if they liked me. So the first year, we got through that. The second year, we got through that. Then by the third year, I was ready to move on. So I think that that's when I moved into Lacage because I knew that I could get my citizenship quicker in Lacage. So that's what happened. I moved into Lacage for a few years and I got my citizenship, and that was my goal, was to get my citizenship so I could feel more established and more, I could get a job during the day because, you know, we did the shows at night. Excuse me. Now, do I plan on touring the Impostors again? We're touring the Impostors now, but we're touring them with a live tribute artist. And we thought at the beginning that it would be a conflict between the celebrity female impersonators or drag that you want to get, and people who sing live and try to do these tributes. It's actually working very well, and we get along well. And I think the fact that when they see the drag, I'm teaching them something because I've noticed in the last few shows they're coming back stronger with better costuming, bigger stuff, better stuff, singing louder, being more showman, being more of a showman. So maybe I'm rubbing off on them, but we are having the best time with the show. And I'm so grateful when I suggested to Nick, I said, I think I can work with the live singers. He said, well, I don't know. I don't know this and that. So he put me with them. First time it worked. Second time it worked. And then where he was more skeptical is with the women. So I was kind of worried about the women too because I know that the way they do celebrity impersonations, they really focus more on their voices. They're not really showmen when it comes to the costumes, but they showed me. I showed them one or two, the way I looked, and I came out and they noticed the applause and the screaming and the yelling I got. So they stepped up their game. So now we're all on the same page and we're doing good. We're doing really well. I'm really happy. I am still open to the idea of impersonators coming back into the group. But right now, if things are good, why change them? Um, the guys that were in the show before, well, they moved on. They're doing their own thing. I don't really know what they're doing, and to be honest, I don't care. I needed to move forward from all of the fighting and the arguing. And now that I'm doing better, I'm doing much better, and I'm happy. So, and things are getting better for the group because there's less arguing and there's less bickering. And I'm reaching out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and I'm I'm answering your emails. I'm answering all of the things on Instagram. I'm answering these things. I'm keeping you guys engaged. So it seems to be bringing in the bookings, keeping everyone engaged, updating my Facebook pages all the time, changing this, changing that. So I'm kind of, the agent told me, he says, you're on a roll, keep it going. So now the right gigs have been coming in, and the right bookings have been coming in, and I'm going to be traveling all over the place with these other live tribute artists. And they even said to me, since you start putting all the stuff on Facebook and all of our stuff, the bookings are coming in now. I said, yeah, because I want to work. You asked me, what did I think of the members in the show? You mean the cast members? Like, what do I think of them as people? Oh, okay. Um, I like Danny Love. He was a really talented man. His face, he could contortion his face into a weird way. Danny was amazing. And he was so sweet to me. And he really cared about his lookalikes. He really tried to look like the people he was doing. His Bette Midler was fabulous. And his Lucy, his stand-up, I loved it. His comedic set. Danny Love was just an all-around entertainer. Very good. J.J. Murray did Dolly Parton and Pat Benatar and a few other people. But, I mean, he was just doing what he was doing. But he was the MC. So he had to focus on MC in the show. Dale was the sleek and sexy one. He was doing Cher and Celine and Barbara. And, of course, I was what do they call it, the token black one. And I did Tina Turner, Janet Jackson, Patti LaBelle. I did all the black acts. So, and then we did a lot of skits. We used to do this big Christmas skit called Beehive, and it was amazing. Oh, we used to have the time. And then we used to do the cell block tango, where we played cards on stage, and we included the audience. It was hilarious. I miss those days of being Danny Love and JJ and Dale, because we did so many skits. It was amazing. And we always included the audience within the skits. So it used to have the people off their feet. So I miss those days. I'm happy now that I've discovered who I am. So now I've stepped up my game, and it's natural to me now to be beautiful, to be different all the time, to keep people's interest in us, in the group, and in what I'm doing. What else did you ask me? Where the entertainers now? I don't know. I don't know where the other guys are. I haven't seen them in a long time. I don't go to the bars anymore because the agents don't want me working in the gay bars, giving away the acts for cheap. They want, if we're going to work, we have to work in the right places and make sure that we're working incredible places. So as we're building our platform, and we're filming all these things, there's so much going on that the producers want to do with me and the show that I'm creating. So, and even Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg sent me a thing and told me sent me a little message on my Facebook thing from the administration or something that the content on my page is amazing for a book. And they just put food for thought. So I don't know. So I've been writing my book now, like I told you guys in my earlier conversations, for almost 2 years. There's so much to put in there, and the agent keeps saying, well, you can do a second volume after we get this group going here and settled, and you guys are doing really well working together, so he doesn't have to come to every gig and babysit us. Now, Jackie Loren, I love Jackie Loren because she was beautiful. She really knew her stuff with show business. She really knew her stuff. Who else? Terry Stevens was another one. He was brilliant, big mouth, but he was brilliant on the stage, and he's always very helpful, and that was probably his downfall. But he lives in Calgary now. He's doing his own thing. But I do miss him sometimes because I think about him, and I think, what is he doing now, or she doing now? And but we're all getting up in age now, so we have to sort of think about the future and what we want. The group now is just sort of me performing with live singers. I'm emceeing and doing my celebrity lookalikes with the live singers, and it's working very well. So Nick and the other agents, they want to start adding dancers to the show. So we're looking into that. We're also looking into maybe doing, a few years ago, we had a documentary out on the Impostors. We've been approached again about doing a continuation of that show in a new documentary featuring me and the new guys and girls that are in the show with the live. So we're looking into that now to see how we can do that to make it work. Right now, I'm just trying to make sure that we're all connected really well. It seems that our timing and everybody seems to be getting along really well and very helpful. So hopefully that's going to happen. A new book, a documentary. So a lot is on the go. Plus, I'm trying to do my own talk show, and I want to do my own Broadway show, Stephanie's Tea Room. So I have a lot to do. So you guys have a lot to look forward to. We're working on it. Now, like I said before, I want my shows to be raw. I don't want it to be typical. I mean, down the road, we'll put it in a studio and everything. But right now, I want it to be raw because I want people that are watching to know that if I can do it, they can do it. And I'm loving the fact that the Impostors have traveled all around this country and people know us. They know Danny. They always ask me about Danny Love, always, and Dale. For some reason, those two, they always seem to ask me about them when I go into these other small towns like Kenora, Salmon Arms, Whistler, and all that. They always ask me about Danny Love and Dale Barnett. And I'm glad to know that I met Danny and Dale and Jackie and a lot of the other ones. I'm really pleased that after all of this, I'm not bitter with the guys that left the show. I'm just sort of now coming to my own. So I'm happy. And down the road, there's a Las Vegas maybe thing happening. We'll see. Okay, hopefully I answered some of you guys' questions out there tonight. Now, what else was it? Oh, you asked me something, and I'm trying to. Oh, you asked me about all the characters. Um, did you you asked me about the characters? Dale Barnett did Cher and Barbara Streisand, and who else did he do? Cher, Barbara Streisand, and he did What Makes a Man, where he went from a woman into a man. And we always got standing ovations because we always come out at the end as men. I love that concept. It always works. Um, then you had, like I said earlier, J.J. Murray. He did Liza Minnelli and Dolly Parton. Danny did Bette Midler, and lots of other people. Peggy Lee, Lucy. Um, oh, he did so many. And then, of course, I did all the Black Stars. Um, and those were the good old days. The good old days with the Impostors. So to answer your questions, and just to remind everybody, the Impostors at the beginning, when I came to Canada in 1989, was Danny Love, Dale Burnett, J.J. Murray, and myself. Before that, it was like about a month or so, or a few weeks before that, Jackie Larin was in the show, but she died. So Dale Burnett replaced Jackie Larin. So those are the people that I remember. I know some of you are going to ask me about the great imposters. I remember Rusty Ryan. I worked with Rusty Ryan for a long time, but I only went into the great imposters after for a few weeks, for like about 6 months, because it was easy for me to run the imposters and then work with the great imposters because Rusty was great at booking. So me and Dale went on the road with Rusty. We didn't like Rusty because Rusty didn't have respect for me and Dale as far as entertainers. Rusty was really about Rusty. And he died on the road, dragging a speaker out of the van. A 70-year-old man grabbing a speaker, 500 pounds, grabbing a speaker out of a van. Silly. I don't get it. But anyway, Rusty always treated me kind, though. He always treated me kind, but he just had no, I don't know. It was all about Rusty. He forgot that me and Dale were in the show with him, and we didn't like that. So we didn't hate him, but we made our pay and we went about our business. But near the end, we wouldn't work with him because he was just too much. But Rusty was a very talented man, and I remember working with him for about a year. And so where's everybody now? Well, I don't know. I know Dale's dead, Danny's dead, Jackie Loren's dead. I heard there was, I don't know what's going on with Randy Cole in Buffalo. I haven't heard from him in a long time, so I don't know. I've just sort of moved on with my life. And everybody, I mean, if you want to get a hold of somebody, you can get a hold of them on Facebook. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Stephanie Stevens Show. Hopefully I answered some of your questions about the imposters. I know that there's been a lot of controversy about the name, this and this person was in the group and that person. As far as I'm concerned, I told you the people that were in the group when I was in the group. So I'm not really worried about who was in the group at the beginning of the 40 years because it's irrelevant to me. What's relevant to me is to preserve the legacy of when I was in the group. So Danny asked me to keep the group going, and he left the group name to me and all the paperwork. So I felt that I needed. He gave me my first professional job, so I owed him. So, but not only that, I respect him. So it was a pleasure for me to continue the group and try to keep things going. But I'm at an age now to where I need to think about my retirement. So I can't, pussyfoot around anymore. I have to think very seriously about where I'm going what I'm doing and what I want from the group now, and what I need from the group now to happen. So if things can't happen a certain way and they're not going to get better, then I'm just going to go out on my own, because there seems to be lots of opportunity for me on my own. So, but I'd rather go with a group because it's easier on me. So thank you guys so much for listening to me on the Stephanie Stevens Show. Hopefully I've educated you a little bit tonight and gave you a little bit of my life with the Impostors. I miss Danny Love and Jackie Loren and Dale. Michael, the guy who used to drive our van all the time. And I miss all the people, a lot of the people that used to come see our shows on a regular basis, and fan base in the small towns. I miss you guys too. I know you guys remember us. Of course you have to remember me. I was the only black person one time in Sudbury. Oh my God, 500 people in the club and just one black person, me, performing. Come on, Kenora. But anyway, so thank you guys so much for listening to me here on the Stephanie Stevens Show. This episode is The Impostors, 1989, The Year with the Impostors, starring Stephanie Stevens, Danny Love, Jackie Loren, Dale Barnett, and J.J. Murray. So thank you guys so much. Hopefully I've educated you a little bit about the Impostors. So over and out, everybody. Have a great night. Bye-bye. It's the Stephanie Stevens Show. Stephanie Stevens Show. Stephanie. The Stephanie Stevens Show. It's Stephanie Stevens Show. It's Stephanie Stevens Show. It's Stephanie. The Stephanie Stevens Show. It's Stephanie Stevens Show. It's Stephanie. The Stephanie Stevens Show. Thank you, everybody, and have a good night. Over and out. Bye.